Welcome to Esther's Universe. It's a magical place full of authenticity, creativity, and joy. It's where anything is possible as science and spirituality come together to teach you how to step into your power and raise your vibration. So together we can heal the collective and make a positive impact on the world. If you love the pod, please share it and enjoy. Welcome to the pod.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me. I'm so delighted to be here.
So everyone who's listening, I've got Rae Trigg. Do you want to give us a really brief intro, like on who you are, what you're doing, and then we'll get stuck in?
Yes, of course. So as you said, I'm Rae. I'm a Melbourne girl living in southern Sri Lanka in a cute little surf town here. Everybody obviously expects that I surf, but I don't. And I'm a clinical exercise physiologist by trade, or by training, I guess. But just in my life now, I would say I'm completely obsessed with vitality. What does it mean to have vitality? What even is vitality? How do we create it in our body? And then how do we use that vitality to create an exceptional life? Real physiological energy, like in your cells. And everything in your life is paid for with that energy. So if you want to have an exceptional life, you have to have an exceptional energy level physiologically. So how do we create that? What does it mean to be healthy? What does it mean to have vitality? And then how can we magnify that and use that as a tool for manifesting, as we were going to chat about today, manifesting a truly exceptional life. And it's really like accessible at a level, no matter what you believe, no matter how spiritual you consider yourself to be, you can't deny the fact that it is something that animates us as human beings. Every single culture across time has had a word for this like aliveness, this life force energy, whatever you want to call it. And so, yeah, the more we can understand what it is, connect to it and amplify it, the more extraordinary life gets.
That is so beautiful. I feel like there is a really big push energetically at the moment for everyone to find more practical ways to use their energy or to understand their energy in like a everyday human living your life on earth kind of sense. So would you say that what you're doing is kind of helping people implement a better life physically by using your energy? Like, tell me more about it. What are you tell us everything.
Yeah, well, basically, yes. And I feel like there's such a disconnect sometimes, especially in the online space, between manifesting and manifestation and all of these kind of things, and then actual physical health. But the thing is that like they're not two separate things. They're completely entwined, right? And then the more we can amplify that aliveness and the amount of physiological energy we have, the more we can pay attention to opportunities in our life, because life is always bringing us opportunities. Life is always bringing interesting people into our life, interesting connections, different opportunities. If we don't have a high level of energy, we're just not even going to notice them. Like our brain is going to automatically filter them out because we don't have the capacity to act on them. So the more energy we can have, the more we can actually notice these things happening in our life, and then the more we can take action towards them. And then the more like crazy quote unquote manifestations or serendipitous things come into our life, not because they've fallen out of the sky into our lap, but because we've been able to have enough energy and enough enthusiasm and enough self-trust and openness in life that we can take all of the things that life is always bringing to us and action them, like we can use them. We can have interesting conversations with interesting people because we have the energy for it. We can take big risks in our life because we have enough self-trust and we have enough energy. Do you know what I mean? And everything comes back down to that. So if you're living in a survival state of energy, you're going to have a survival state of manifesting in your life. You're going to have a survival state of like magical opportunities because they're just equivalent.
That's so true. What was your life like before you found this way of living, or before you became obsessed with all of this? Like, tell us, like, give us a before
journey.
And after.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. So I obviously I did a undergrad of health science in musculoskeletal therapy, and then did a master's of clinical exercise physiology. And these years, like I wasn't exercising at all. I was doing some salsa dance. I was obsessed with salsa dancing, but didn't consider that to be exercise, and had no interest in going to the gym. And I knew all of these things like so theoretically, obviously, but like had no embodied experience of them. Then I moved to the UK for a guy I met backpacking, and we lived there for a few years, and then ended up moving to Spain, and he worked in professional cycling. So in Spain, we were living in this community of elite athletes, like Tour de France cyclists, Olympic gold medalists, and just it completely revolutionized my life to see all of these people and their partners as well just be so obsessed with how much their bodies had capacity for, and not as a thing of like, oh, I have to go to the gym to do this boring, annoying thing. It was like, no, like such a celebration of how much power and capacity our bodies actually have, and how far can you push it, right? And if you want to win an Olympic gold medal, you're pushing it to the limit. And so that really changed everything for me, seeing people live their lives like that, and seeing how integrated as a part of the community it was. Like, instead of going, well, as well as going for dinners, we would like go for trail runs. Like, I would meet a friend with our dogs and we would go for a trail run together as a way of catching up, right? Instead of going for coffee. And it was such a part of the community. And then that relationship ended and I moved back to Melbourne straight into COVID. So that was a real plot twist in my life. I didn't see that one coming. Also back into a community where no one was really that interested in exercise. And again, it was just like that kind of thing of it being an annoying thing to do that most of my friends were like not interested in.
I'm sure there are people in Melbourne who are like into, fit, healthy lifestyles, but whenever I do think of Melbourne and the people that I know who are in Melbourne, it's very much more like nighttime dinner, drinks, culture, gigs,
exactly.
Which is all like amazing in itself. But I can imagine coming back after it's such a Fitspo kind of vibe going into a different era. And then also COVID in Melbourne was probably one of the worst experiences. I wasn't there, but one of my friends, holy fuck. Yeah, I was so worried about him. Holy. Yeah. The depression,
I know. And just like being in endless lockdowns, like just endless lockdowns. And then in a big identity crisis as well in that moment, because that big relationship of my 20s had ended. I was like, what on earth am I going to do now? And then it was the thing of like, should I get reaccredited as an exercise physiologist and go back to like working in hospitals, working in community rehab, all of these kind of things, which was what I was trained in. And I really just didn't want to be in that environment, like with people that were so unwell. And then having experienced the full end of the spectrum, like people that have just had strokes, people that are dying of type 2 diabetes, people that have had heart attacks and just had open heart surgery, to the polar opposite end of the spectrum is like as full of vitality and like health and life as you can get.
Right. Yes. So what were some steps that you took then to make the changes to go from where you were in this like relationship breakdown, COVID, going from like your 20s to 30s, maybe, I don't know how old you are, but like big life changes in all kinds of ways. What were some of the things that you were doing to help yourself through that period of time? And did you also have this like knowing as well of like, life's going to get better, I'm going to make it better?
I think there was a moment where, so I'm 35 now. This happened when I was 30. had just turned 30. And I think I had a moment where I was like, oh, I could just like be a Melbourne girly and like live the Melbourne life, and I like got an office job and everything like that, and it just was like the death of me. It was horrific, like just commuting in traffic, I was living in like a really cool part of Melbourne with my friends, so that was nice. It was lockdowns, but at some point I was just like so miserable, like sitting down all day in this office, had no windows in the office, and it was just like, there must be more to life than this. Like, this can't be it. So if it's not going to be this, then what is it going to be? And then I just started obsessively listening to, I wasn't a podcast girly before this, but obsessively listening to podcasts. I was listening to a lot of Joe Dispenza as well, like everything online that I could find that was interesting. Yes, I love him too. I started listening to his meditations. I started running again, and I also started working out again, just doing like little ones in the park. I don't really like going to the gym, so I found some ones on Instagram that I liked, and I was doing them in the park. So I was feeding my brain with all of this information that like, oh, there is so much more possible than what you're currently doing. You just have to believe a little bit. Even if you don't know how you're going to make it happen, you have to at least believe that it is going to be able to happen. And then, this is the whole thing that we sometimes get caught up on, You can't just believe that it's going to happen. You actually have to do something different, and something that's
you got to do
your
the
vitality.
things, right?
You have to do the
things. You got to take a fucking step.
You have to take a step, exactly. And that's how life collaborates with us, because if we just kick back and we're like, oh, please just like drop all these manifestations into my life, it's like, that's being such a shit friend to life. Like, you would never want to be treated like that as a friend, and life also doesn't want to be treated like that. Like, we have to be reciprocating. We have to be like going out there and putting in effort and taking action and being like a nice, reliable, passionate, enthusiastic person in our lives to then be able to get this.
I used to be like, it's fully so true. Hey, I used to be like, life, can you just please save me? Like, I'm tired and sick of having to like do all these things. And life was like, I do more for you than you even realize. You need to do something as well. And I was like, oh, how embarrassing, of course. And then you do stuff, and then life's like, thank God you've come to the party, and everything changes.
Exactly. And it's such a moment of realization, I think, where like, oh, this is actually a collaboration. Like, we can't just kick back and be lazy, because nothing good comes from that place. Do you know what I mean? And then if you're not taking any kind of action, how are you ever going to get to where you want to go? It's impossible.
Yeah, so true. So where are you at the moment in your journey? Like, what are some of the things that you're obsessed about with vitality, and like, what can you just not shut up about at this current point in time?
So many things, honestly. But I just think, like, in terms of our physicality, it is so untapped, like the potential, the strength of our physical bodies, and the strength, and that which is obviously completely entwined with our mental strength, our mental health, our mental stability, our everything physical and mental and emotional is completely entwined. You cannot even remotely separate the two. And the more you amplify one, the more you amplify the other one. So just in the sense, I think that collectively we're so soft with our bodies. We're so overly gentle with them, I think. And it's like, if you want to experience yourself as a strong, powerful person, you want to experience your body as a strong, powerful body. You want to experience your mind as a strong, powerful mind. And the only way that you're going to do that is by challenging it, putting it in situations where it has to show you that it's strong. It has to show you that it's powerful. Do you know what I mean? And then the more we do that, the more proof we give ourselves that we have this capacity. And the more proof you give yourself that you have capacity, the more life can bring to you, because you're just demonstrating that you can hold it, that you can use it, that you're not going to drop it and break it. Life never wants to give us things that we're going to drop and break. So you have to prove that you're strong, that you're powerful, that you can hold anything, that you can create anything.
I love. How would you recommend to someone to prove that you're strong and powerful? Like, for me, the first thing that came into my head when you said that was like an undying self-trust, like this constant remembrance of like, you've gotten yourself to like everywhere you've needed to be so far. You know, anytime life's been hard, you've been able to get the fuck back up, dust yourself off, and keep going and come out even better than before, you know? So it's like, but we forget that when times are hard.
Exactly.
I think, and then it's like easy to feel disempowered. But then when you move into that place of self-trust, of just being like, wait, I've fucking got this.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
Go on, what's your version of it?
No, I love that. And I think the thing is with self-trust and self-love is that we try to intellectualize it and make it something that we can have as a mental construct in our mind. And it's like, actually, it doesn't exist like that. It exists as something that you prove to yourself. So the way that you create self-trust is by always doing what you say you're going to do. Like, never, ever don't do what you say you're going to do. You're breaking your own trust to yourself. And that's literally what self-trust is. It's like, you say you're going to do something and then you do it. You're a reliable, trustworthy person to yourself and hopefully to everyone else in your life. And then from there, it's like, then go out from there and do hard things on purpose so that you're proving to yourself that you can do hard things. That's literally it. And we try to make it anything but that because it's such an annoying thing. Do you know what I mean? We're like, no, there must be some sort of workaround. But there isn't.
Why do people do that? Why do we take something so easy and be like, nah, it has to be harder than this. Like, I'm going to make it harder. Fucking hell. When you were saying that, though, I was just going to fucking explode with excitement because that's exactly it. Like, self-discipline, I think, is another word for that. Like, just doing the things that you say you're going to do. Say, okay, I want this kind of life. Like, okay, like, do it. If you want that kind of life, make it, build it, like, make that happen, but start small. Like, just tell yourself that you're going to have a better morning routine and start there. Like, actually leave the house every morning, actually do the thing that feels really good, whatever tiny little thing, because then you do it again and again. You microdose self-discipline, you microdose self-trust. And then when it comes to taking those like bigger launching steps and jumps and stuff like that, you're like, okay, I fucking got this because I've shown myself. So like by the time I launched, right? Like by the time I launched the Theta app, I was like shitting my pants, but I was like, okay, I've got a podcast. And there was once upon a time when I didn't have a podcast. And I made that happen, and I didn't know what to do, but I just did it, and I showed up all the time, and my life started changing. So I was like, okay, great. And then I'm going to just build this fucking app. And then I just did that. And then now I'm changing my life in a lot of ways again. And I'm like, all right, well, I've got a podcast and built an app. I can do this. So like
exactly.
The bigger the steps you take, the more trust, I guess, you build in yourself. But that I didn't start any of those things without the tiny micro steps first in building up the energy, building up the self-trust, building up the knowledge that I can handle it.
Yeah, exactly. And then from that place, you can take bigger risks. And from the bigger risks, you always get bigger magic. Always. Right. Like if you can take them and trust that life will catch you, life always catches you. And yeah,
it does.
It does. But you have to build the self-trust to take the risk. You can't just be like flapping around in the breeze. You have to know. And the only way that you can know is by proving it to yourself, proving it to life. And I think what you were saying is so beautiful, because it's like, this is such a thing that translates across every area of your life. So if you're building this level of discipline, and it's just kind of an easy workaround to build it physically, because then it's easy to just pick something physical that's contributing to your health and do it every day. Do it every single day. No matter what. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then that level of discipline translates to building an app, to launching a podcast, to being a good partner in your relationship, to being a good mom, like to every area of your life.
It does. It's like completely holistic, hey?
Yeah.
What are some things that you can tell us about? I don't really know the questions to ask, because I don't know the questions to ask entirely, but if you can pick up on what I'm putting down, what are some things that you can share with us to create more vitality in our physical bodies, so that when we wake up in the morning, we don't feel because I know that a lot of people message me saying they feel really sluggish in the morning. Like, have you got any tips on how we can all wake up and feel a little bit more sprightly?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think across the board, you just want to be people that are prioritizing your aliveness within your body, your vitality. So that has like very, very, very just foundational things that we need to be hitting, right? You need to be moving your body every day. That's just completely non-negotiable. The life force in your body, your vitality, it's a physical, real thing. The state of health of your mitochondria, which are the little powerhouses in your cells that are producing your energy, your adenosine triphosphate, they need to be healthy too. And the only way that you can have them healthy is by you being a healthy person. So that requires a lot of movement, a lot of walking as well. I would say like some sort of physical discipline plus walking is the perfect combination of movement. Every single physical system in your body needs this like rhythmic expansion and contraction to work properly. Your circulatory system, your lymphatic system for your immune system, all of your organs, all of your muscles, everything needs, your brain needs this like rhythmic expansion and contraction that walking provides. So for sure, I would say like minimum 10K steps a day, more if you can. Plus then some sort of movement that you love. Like, don't get out of bed to like drag yourself to do something you hate. Like, go and find what it is that lights you up, that you can experience your body as this beautiful, powerful, magnificent thing, right? If it's salsa dancing, perfect. If it's rock climbing, perfect. If it's going to the gym, perfect. Like, I'm so into Ashtanga yoga at the moment, and I also do like a ancient sword fighting martial art from India that I'm completely obsessed with.
Shut up! That sounds amazing. That's badass.
Yeah, so like find something and do that. Do you know what I mean?
Fully. Can you tell us more about mitochondria, however you say it? Because one of my friends is obsessed with it, and I don't know enough about it, but she's always like, it's a way to manifest the life you want is through your mitochondria. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean.
Yes, well, I think it's basically exactly what I was saying at the start. It's to be able to manifest, you need to have an enormous amount of energy. And if your mitochondria are the things that are producing your physiological energy, your cellular energy. And every single thing in your body, every single one of the trillions of processes that are happening every second are paid for with this cellular energy. So if you want to have a high level of brain function, which gives you the opportunity to focus on things, to be creative, to have clarity, to have conversations, to think about your life, think about what you want to do in your life, then the more mitochondria you have and the healthier they are, the more energy they're going to be producing for every single system in your body, but especially your brain, to be able to use. So there's specific things that you can do that increase the amount of these mitochondria in every cell. Great. And the health of them.
Awesome. So, I was literally about to ask about that. Go on.
And it's basically, they're just like our little trillions of our little babies. You would want to look after them like you would look after your baby. And the things that you do to keep yourself as a physical person healthy are generally the things that are going to keep your mitochondria healthy. They want to eat a lot of very, very beautiful, fresh vegetables and high quality protein sources and good fats. They really don't deal well with ultra processed foods, refined seed oils, refined sugars, refined carbohydrates, all of these kind of things. So you want to be feeding your mitochondria with really, really, really high quality food sources, because that's literally the building blocks of them, right? What you're consuming is literally what every single cell in your body is made of. So if you want a high quality, vibrant, alive body, you better be eating a high quality, vibrant, alive range of foods. So I have a rule for that, which is that, like, if your food that you're eating has seen the sunlight recently, then that's a good thing to be eating. If it's never seen the sunlight before, it's not going to contribute to your mitochondria or yourself being that healthy.
I love that.
Yeah, it's such a nice thing to think about.
That's a really cool way to look at it. To be like, has this food seen the sun?
Yeah. So like
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's such a nice thing to think. Also, because our mitochondria are like little cells. They actually emit some level of light. So they're like little glowing suns as well. So our little glowing suns they're basically converting sun energy that hits plants, that we then eat the plants, or we eat animals that eat the plants, and then we convert that energy from the sun into our own cellular energy through our own little like glowing mitochondria. So it's all like, and again, this comes back to the thing of like, everything is energy, everything is life force. We're consuming life force. So the closer your food is to like the life force of it, do you know what I mean? Like, go to the farmer's market and buy the vegetables that have literally just been pulled out of the ground that morning and eat those if you can. So, and then just anything else that contributes to health, right? Getting enough sleep, making sure you're hydrated enough, being outside in nature, like breathing the fresh air, not being stressed, like all that. There's a very simple checklist of things that our mitochondria need, and you just want to be like meeting those needs, right? And then they can do their job properly.
Yeah.
And this is another thing of laziness in terms of manifesting. Like, we want to just live our life how we want to live our life and kick back and be like, with our bodies, we're so complacent sometimes, and we're like, oh, can you just make sure that I'm feeling good all the time and that I can do all the things I need to do? And then we don't feed ourselves properly, we're not outside, we're not eating well, and it's like, how on earth do you think that you're supposed to feel good if you're not doing any of the things that your body needs in order to help you to feel good?
So true. And when you start to actually look after your physical life as well, like, the change is massive, hey?
Yeah.
Like, when I was coming out of burnout, obviously I wasn't looking after my body at all in that time, and my face was all haggard and I was so skinny and so stressed, and I looked like generally just grey as a person.
It's so contrasted to how you are now, because you're so full of life.
Yeah, so animated now, and I feel like everywhere I go I'm like, people are always just looking at me, whether they're in a car or whatever. I just constantly, eyes are just on me all the time. And it used to freak me out when I first started to like glow a lot as a person. But now I'm like, oh, this is a really great sign. I'm shining really brightly. Yay.
Yeah.
But back when I was really dull and really depressed and burnt out, it felt like I didn't hardly even exist. And it's because I wasn't really in my body. I wasn't really looking after it. I was just floating by in some kind of like whisper of existence. And then I started to slow down and look after myself. I started to meditate, and I started to do little things like have some turmeric shots in the morning, just like little tiny fucking things that I could do to show myself that I care. And it was almost like this practice of being like, hey, body, sorry, I've been gone for so long. And I started going on like walks, and then I started going to Pilates, started stretching again, started doing yoga, like all the things. And then yeah, it was almost like I woke back up. It was like my body was alive again and everything. I just started glowing, and I started, like, the more energy I get, the more I want to look after my energy.
Yes.
And now it's like the most important thing on the planet. It's my most important relationship above anyone or anything, even above my kid. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll look after my energy before any cunt, because, like, without it, who am I helping? No one.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it makes such a difference. Like, you just glow. And, like, I didn't see you before, or maybe you were always like this. I don't fucking know. But you are so animated, and you're so glowy. You're so sparkly. There is so much life coming out of your eyes. Like, I hope everyone watching this can see the video, because, like, you're just twinkling. And it's really beautiful. And you obviously look after yourself so well.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, the more capacity you build, the more of this energy you build, the more you can build. And it's just like you said as well, you don't have to start from 100. I also started, like, also grey, like, living in this office. I would just, like, cry randomly. I remember, like, getting off the tram and just bursting into tears one day, and I was like, what am I doing? But same as you, like, I started listening to, like, I picked a 15-minute Joe Dispenza meditation on YouTube, and I was like, I'm just going to listen to it every morning. Like, surely I can manage that, right? Like, surely I can just listen. And I know myself, and I know you've got, like, all of your crew of, like, multi-passionate ADHD people as well. And it's like, if I try to pick a different one every morning, I will end up, like, just scrolling and this and that. So I was like, you're just going to pick one, and you're going to listen to this same one for, like, 3 months. I don't care if you get bored of it. It's irrelevant. Like, it's not even about that. It's just about picking one thing and doing it every day. So I did. I picked, like, a 15-minute meditation.
Good hack.
And just listened to it for, like, 3 months or something like that. And then I went up to 20 minutes. So I picked a different 20-minute one, and then I listened to that one for, like, 3 months as well. And it was like, it was obviously about the meditation, but also just about the practice of, like, doing what you say you're going to do, showing up every single day for the thing, even if you don't feel like it in that moment.
Totally. And, like, and just, like, showing up for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And creating that proof, right? Creating that proof that you're somebody trustworthy, so that you can actually trust yourself, so that you can actually have self-trust.
So true. Oh, that is so true. Another thing, randomly off topic, the self-trust thing. There was a time when I would always have to ask all my friends what they would think of things before I could choose something. Whether it was, like, a thing going on with a boyfriend, or just, like, should I do this? Should I do that? I was always like, what do you guys think? Like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I? And I needed, like, a whole fucking debate team of all my friends to get together and tell me what I should do. And then one day I got, like, so sick of myself. I was like, shut up. Stop asking people. Fuck's sake. Like, sort yourself out. And I was like, okay. And started to just go, okay, I'm going to make my own choices. I'm not going to ask anyone. And it's not to say, like, I think that, you know, going through life without talking to your girlfriends is the way either. I think it's just, like, finding a balance between both. Ultimately learning to trust your own decisions above everyone else, because it's your life, your decisions. That's what matters. But, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
it's so relevant.
That was, like, a really big thing too.
Yeah, for
Making
sure.
Making a choice and then acting on it.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I have a whole episode on this on my own podcast, actually, and I call it, like, building your adventure muscle. And it's like, we always expect to just be able to, like, take these crazy big risks, and then for our nervous system to somehow be able to handle that. And it's like, no, actually, that's a skill that you have to build very incrementally. Like, you have to be able to, like, choose what you're going to have for dinner before you can just, like, book a one-way flight to India and be okay with that, right? And it's like, it's like what you're saying, you have to be able to make a decision without consulting 20 people first, and then experience what that is like, and then, you know, incrementally. And then, but we're like, oh no, I should just be able to, like, burn my whole life down and start again from scratch, and then somehow be able to completely navigate that very, very smoothly and elegantly. And it's like, yeah, have you
not smooth?
Have you been building any other self-trust in any area of your life, in any capacity up until this point? Because if you haven't, it's going to be chaos, complete chaos.
So true. Because that's the thing, like, when you make whatever changes, whether it's deciding to have something totally different for dinner or going to fucking a random country on a whim, that process of regulating your nervous system also, I think, comes from, like, a constant choice in the present moment and being able to trust yourself. Because when you're manifesting a life where you're doing whatever, for me, I want to, you know, I've got my app and the podcast, and I would just love for all these things to just keep expanding and keep growing. And, like, I have a lot of fun doing all of that. But taking the jump to do that. Like when I launched Theta, I was so sad. I was so fucking sick to my stomach, sad and depressed. Not like as a whole, it was just that day. I was having a great time in life and everything. I was really proud of myself, and I couldn't even believe how quickly I got it all together. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But my nervous system was like, I'm sorry, like, who the fuck do you think you are? What do you fucking think you're doing? Is this going to blow up? Am I going to be able to handle this? Like, and I just got so like, oh my God, I had to spend it was like the scene from The Office where Michael's like sitting on the swing in the playground alone, just like feeding fucking seagulls or whatever, just looking super depressed. That was me. It was like a cloudy day and I was like moping along the beach, just doing anything I could to get my vibe back up. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to die. And it was because my nervous system was just like fritzing out. And then I spent like the next like month after that basically just regulating every day, not forcing myself to do anything crazy, just regulating, just fucking breathing and being like, I am here, just telling my body, I'm here, you're okay. Yeah. I've got you. And then my body was like, okay. And then just like relax in. And I had to keep reminding myself, like, I keep doing for you what I say I will do. Like, I keep looking after you. I can take these jumps. And it's like literally this communication between my body and my mind that happens, like a two-way convo all the fucking time. It's so cool.
Yes, exactly. And it's because it's a collaboration, right? We expect our nervous system to look after us, so we also have to look after our nervous system. We're in a relationship with every single system of our body. And that's the thing of like complacency and laziness. It's like you expect your brain to be functioning very, very, very well, and you expect to have creativity and focus and be able to think about things and to be able to be happy, to be able to enjoy your life. But like, are you giving your brain any of the things that it actually needs to be able to do that for you? Because it's a friendship, it's a relationship, it's a collaboration.
It is. Do you feel the energy in your brain when you're thinking? Like, do you have that as well? Like when you're thinking thoughts, let's just say you're doing the dishes, and you catch yourself having a random thought that's probably like more on the draining side than the energizing side, and you catch it because you physically feel actually drained, and then you're like, why do I feel drained right now? And then you go, wait a second, I'm having this fucking draining thought, and then you go, hang on a second, switch it out for an energizing. Can you do that too?
Yeah, I have a very good sense of what things feel like in my body, I would say, and it's something that I think I've always had it, but I've really put a lot of energy into amplifying that more, to like understanding it better. Our body's always
How do
trying
you
to
amplify it more?
Us.
Fully, hey. How do you, because I feel like so many people are so disconnected from their bodies, and it's so, not difficult, but it's like, I feel like I'm constantly searching for ways to explain to people the innate sort of nature of existence, which is so hard to explain when it's just such a part of your evolutionary makeup and just of your, you know, it's something that already exists within us. It's like a language that you're learning, and then I try and like learn my own language, and then I try and find a way to translate my language to a way that other people will understand it. So like, what's your viewpoint of being able to understand your body's cues, or know when you're having a draining thought? What does that feel like for you? Or can you animate into almost like a cartoon for us, like what the relationship between mind and body is for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think you have to you have to be able to create enough stillness, I think, to actually know what it is. So I think for sure, like if you're not meditating, start meditating, even if it's just 5 minutes a day to start with, because you have to know what your baseline is to notice any deviations from the baseline, whether they're good ones or bad ones, to notice what things enhance your state to do more of those things, and to notice what things are depleting you so that you can do less of those things. So you have to have, and this is the same with your physical vitality as well as like your state of mind or your state of being. You have to know you have to be familiar with it at a baseline. You have to spend time with it. You have to treat it like any other friendship in your life. You can't just put zero energy and effort into it and expect to have a beautiful connection with it. It just doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. You can't do that with any person in your life. You can't do that with yourself. You can't do that with your brain. You can't do it with your physical body either. It requires energy and effort and intention, right? And so you're going to have to have practices that let you connect into that. So it's meditation. For me, it's martial art, also yoga. You can do it running. You can do it with any practice if you're bringing intention to the practice. And then you want to just be paying attention. How do you feel? What is your baseline? How does it feel to be in your body? What does your body feel like? What does it feel like to feel your heart beating? What does it feel like to feel your brain, to feel connected to it? Joe Dispenza's meditations are beautiful for this as well, I think, because they really guide you into like having those like connect, because if you've never heard of it before, if you've never tried it, it's like such an alien thing. You're like, what do you mean, what does my brain feel like? It's like, well,
yeah,
go and sit down and try and connect to it. You're not going to be able to connect to it unless you're going to go and sit down and try and connect to it.
Fully. Hey, I remember a period of time when none of this made any sense to me, and now, like, when I'm going on my morning walk or whatever, I sometimes literally will just shoot my awareness. I was about to say shoot my brain down into my foot, but obviously my brain's not in my foot, but it kind of feels like that. But obviously it's just my attention, it's just my awareness, but I'll be like suddenly in my toes.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of my toes. I'm like, how like splayed are they? Are they catching, like, are they doing enough like with balance, or am I overcompensating? And then I feel my way through my legs. I put my awareness in my hips. I'm like, what are my hips doing? Is my back getting hurt or helped right now? And I'm like, is my core engaged? And then I'm like, what are my hip flexors doing? And then I'm like, if I tripped in a gutter right now, would I hurt my back? Like, should I put more? And then I like kind of just make these micro adjustments. And then I'm like, what's my breath doing? And then I'm like, what am I thinking about? What are my thoughts doing? And I just go through this like full body fucking scan on my walk. Not like the whole time. The walk's not even, it just happens. I just choose to do it. I'll do a little like check over. And then I'm like back to sort of manifesting, and I'm walking and just getting this best vibe ever. And sometimes I'm crying, and sometimes I'm just like looking at leaves. Sometimes I'm just storming along. But I scan into the body, and I remember once upon a time I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah,
and
it's a skill. I think we're like, oh, you either can do it or you can't. And then people that can't do it are like, oh, I will never be able to do that. And it's like, no, it's like, well, you would never just sit down at a piano and be able to expect to play the piano. And it's the same with connecting to your body. Do you know what I mean? You have to treat it as a skill that you're learning and practice. Yeah, exactly. Practice.
Fully.
Practice. Every day.
Just practice it. Yeah.
It's so
Where
important,
are you at?
I think.
Where are you at now with the life that you've been creating for yourself, and like, what are you doing? What's your version of creating and being of service, or like, what's your work that you're doing? What's your everyday sort of hobbies, passions? Like, tell us a general gist of your life and why it's better since you've started focusing in on this kind of thing.
Well, every part of your life is better. The more energy you have, the more magical life gets, right?
So true.
And it just
Amen.
becomes this like fun game of like, wow, how good can it get? And there is no limit. So far, there's no limit. The more, it just keeps getting better and better, right? And it's like the more energy you have, the more you can pay attention to the things in your life. And the more you pay attention, the more serendipitous things are there already. They're just waiting for you to notice them and be able to take action on them. They're all there already. And so the more like crazy magical things happen in your life. And so really like, I live this and breathe it. Like I could talk about this all day. I work one-on-one with clients it's kind of like this interesting combination of like health and life coaching, I guess, where it's like so much amplifying all of these things through your lifestyle. And then it's like, well, what do you want to create with your life? If you don't know what kind of exceptional life you want to create, you're not going to just create it by accident. Like you need to get crystal clear on what it is. And then to be able to help people to bring it to life, to be able to take bigger risks, to build more self-trust, to collaborate with life. And then I also have my own podcast as well, which I love, just like having the most beautiful rambles of my own, and also interviewing like just fascinating people in town here or other people that inspire me, and sharing all of this kind of stuff. I think because it's a thing of like, people always say like, oh, it's your frequency, like if you want to manifest you have to raise your frequency. And it's like, I remember so much sitting in this office being like, what is my frequency and how do I raise it? And nobody's telling me how to do that. And it's like,
where do I get one?
Which shop can I buy? It's like, your frequency is your vitality, right? So it's like, forget about frequency, like go and raise create more vitality in your body, create more vitality in your brain, be around people that have a very, very high level of vitality. Put yourself in environments where you have an enormous amount of vitality, which is exactly why I live in Sri Lanka. Like for me, this is a place where I'm like so full of life, so full of energy. And then if you just focus on that, everything else will fall into place around you. Of course, all of the things that you want in your life are going to come to you. Of course they are. It's impossible that they wouldn't.
That's so beautiful. What's your podcast called? Because I feel like a lot of people are going to want to listen to that. I'll put it in the show notes as well, but what's it called?
Yeah, it's called Elite Vitality, obviously.
So on brand.
Yeah, I know. It's just like a rampant enthusiasm Without it, you don't have anything. And the more you have of it, the more like you get to experience all of these really high level emotions in life. You get to be playful. You get to be curious. You get to experience delight. You get to experience just like the sheer pleasure of having the sunlight on your skin. Like, do you know what I mean? If you don't have a lot of energy, you don't get to experience any of those emotions.
So true. I love that. I love that. The enthusiasm thing is such a big thing, because I feel like you know, when you're a kid, like, you're so enthusiastic, right? You're like, oh my God, this is a thing I found, this, blah, 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 look at my rock. And then all the adults are like, oh, wow. And their faces, they light up more because you're so like, my rock. We have that effect on each other. It's not just kids and adults. Like, I used to be that vital as a kid, right? And that animated. And then, you know, being an adult, obviously, you know, you're raised in this world where people kind of stamp that out of you, and then you stamp it out of yourself, and then you forget where it is and you don't know how to find it. Yeah. And like, I never was even intentionally on a quest to become more animated and more enthusiastic and more childlike, but that's just kind of the result that's happened, where I, you know, decided I just wanted my energy. I just wanted that back. And I was like, I'm going to just get my energy above everything else and just fucking see what happens. And then all this other amazing magic has come as a result of it. But one of the really fun things is like everything that you were just saying, because you can feel so much, you can sense so much, you're just so open and receiving of so much, everything is so exciting. So now, like, my facial expressions, I didn't even, like, if you asked me 4 years ago if I knew how to make these muscles move, I probably wouldn't have been able to. I would have been like, oh, that young version of me did, but I lost that light or whatever. But you don't lose it. It's always there. I just moved all the fucking draining shit out of the way. And next thing you know, I've got this face that's basically exploding off my body every time I communicate about something. And then the people who talk to me, they become more animated just because they're mirroring my face. Like, they can't even help it. And it's so cool. Like, and what you were saying, spend more time with other people who have high vitality, because it rubs off on you. It really does. Exactly.
Yeah, it's such a magnetic thing to be passionate and to be around other passionate people. And it just it's something that just happens. You can't fake it. You absolutely can't fake it. Like, you're building it and you have it and you're sharing it with people really genuinely and authentically, and that's when you will magnetize everything to you. Or you don't. Do you know what I mean? But there's nothing in between. You can't fake it.
I can't hear anything again. I'm not sure. Whatever you said, it was great. What is one energetic shift that people can make today that will change everything? And then also, I want you to answer the end of this sentence. I became her, i.e. the best version of yourself, when I decided to. You can do that one first if you want.
Yeah, I became her when I decided to just push the limits of how good it can get, right? And then just really just treat it as a playful experiment. Like, how much fitter can you get? How much stronger can you get? How much more can you enjoy your life? How much more present can you be with the people around you? How much can you push the limits of all of the things in your life? Not because you're like wanting to stress yourself out or anything, but just because you're genuinely so playful and curious about how magical life can get. Because it's always going to expand to the amount that you expect it to be beautiful. So you may as well expect it to be incredibly beautiful, right?
I love that so much. That gave me fucking full body goosebumps. And same. And so what's something that everyone can practice immediately? Like, what's one little thing that someone could just start fucking implementing tomorrow morning or tomorrow, whatever? Or right now?
Or right now. I would say, if you're not meditating, start meditating. I know everybody talks about it as like, and it's almost like, it can't be like that magical. And it isn't. But it's like so compounding, and you will literally like, you'll get to like a year from now and look back and be like, oh, it didn't feel like anything, but my entire life has changed.
It's literally like that. It's absolutely fucking amazing. Now that I've started meditating, there's not a single version of me in life that I can imagine where I stop.
Exactly.
Like, obviously some days I don't. It's not like I do it literally every fucking day. For the most part, lately I do it every day. And some periods of time I do it every day, and some periods of time I go like, oh, I haven't meditated in like 2 weeks. Meep. But now that I've seen how much my life has changed as a result of, like you said, it's like one of those compounding things. It's like, holy fuck, this is only going to make it better. It's incredible.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, do you want to give yourself and your business a plug? And we'll put it all in the show notes and we will leave it there. So where can everyone find you?
Everyone can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Rae Trigg. Of course, it will be in the show notes. My own podcast is called Elite Vitality. That's where I love to have big, passionate rambles, just like this one, all the time about beautiful things. And then at the moment, I only work one-on-one with people. I don't have any other group containers, but it's my enormous passion to like help people create this aliveness, this passion for themselves, and then to just watch what sort of magic unfolds, because it's impossible that incredible things don't happen when you create an incredible amount of energy. It's truly like the way to an extraordinary life.
That is beautiful. All right. Thank you for being on the show. Love you.
Bye. Oh, thank you so much.